the reason for the protocol at a dining table is not to make other people feel uncomfortable. It's
Yeah.
not to elevate you as stuffy or better than someone else. It's to just look fluid and seamless and smooth. And that's what protocol is all about. Etiquette is all about making others comfortable to be around you.
Hello, friends, and welcome back to Talking with Teri TV. And I am your host, Teri Cardula, and we have a special episode today with a phenomenal Diane Gottsman. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here, Terry.
Now, Diane, she is America's leader in etiquette training. She's an author, speaker, and a popular media resource. And we're just so excited to have you here and joining us and talking everything etiquettes.
Thank you. I'm excited to talk about everything etiquette because it's really a great, fun topic.
I know. I was stalking you on your page the other day, and I realized that you go from one end to the other and cover everything in. And there were some things that I was like, oh my goodness, etiquette's on baby showers, etiquette's on tipping, etiquette's on, I mean, everything, business,
It's called
gatherings.
it's called life. We navigate this world from one end of the spectrum to the other because we are business. We are either employees, business owners, we are parents, we are friends, we are neighbors. So we may not be everything, but we certainly fill the gap to many different categories. So that's why this is so important, I think.
Yeah, wonderful. So let's unpack this because I think in the business world, there's a lot of meetings. There's a lot of times that we're meeting for collaborations at restaurants, at formal gatherings, galas, all of it. So tell us, unpack some of these dining tips that you have.
So, well, first of all, dining is significant, not because an employer wants to put food in your mouth or a recruiter wants to feed you on that second job interview, but many second job interviews are conducted over a meal. And the reason why is they want to see how you are going to behave in front of their best client. They want to see how you handle social interactions because the way that you behave at a table is very similar to the way you're going to behave in the office and how you're going to treat their client. So dining skills are important. 85% of business is conducted over a meal. And you and I both know that we eat and socialize every day. So that's why it's significant because people are making judgments based on what they see. And dining happens, it's a universal language. So there are some steps that they're not going to notice. People aren't going to say, oh, Teri ate from the correct bread plate, or oh, Teri drank from the wrong water glass. But there will be a flow. And if you're drinking from someone's water glass or eating from someone's bread plate, and they know, and most people do, there's going to be that disconnect. That's why it's important. So I always say, don't show up hungry when you are to an important meeting, a first date, even out with your friends. If you know it's going to be a fairly long night, a wedding, let's say, and you don't know what time they're going to feed you, you don't want to be the first one jumping into the shrimp bowl at the buffet line and your stomach is growling and you can't concentrate on the conversation. So have a little snack in advance, and that's going to make you more comfortable, less anxious, and it's not going to hurt you. Your stomach won't be making noise while everyone else is making conversation.
Yeah. Wonderful. Well, okay, so we're at the dinner table. What are some things that, is important for us to know that maybe we don't know?
So I think that knowing where everything is placed is important. So when you sit down and
I'm laughing because in a lot of the meetings that we go to, I feel like they even put like one extra person on the table and it's so cramped. And it's like, wait, is this my water? Is this my bread? Like, and so do you have some hacks to remember this?
just what you just did, just when you simulated how it looks and feels, that's what happens. You're looking down like this and you're looking at the table. So the hacks are that you know the rules. And one of the hacks is this: you make a B, you make a D. And your bread plate is always going to be on the left. Your drink is always going to be on the right. Now, that doesn't mean that some servers will misplace these, the utensils or the bread and drink, but you will know, okay, if it is incorrect, you're not going to correct them. You're not going to tell the server, all right?
Yeah.
You're just going to know most of the time because most people do know. The servers are
Yeah.
trained.
Yeah.
It's a simple hack. You always eat from the outside moving in, meaning if you don't know, it's that look again, you're looking around. If you don't
Right.
know which is your knife and which is your fork and so you're moving outwards in, and your knives are always on the right, your forks are always on the left, and you're just, if there is salad and soup, and let's say fish, if you're at a really fancy event and they even have a fish knife or fork, which is not often, but maybe,
Yeah.
just follow the lead of the host. That's another simple hack. And then move outward in. But here's a tip. When you are going to an important meeting or you are trying to make a positive impression, there are two things you're going to steer completely clear from. You want to guess what they are?
Um, oh, for as far as eating, as far as food, I'm thinking like messy things, right? Like,
Right.
maybe not those wings, right?
Okay, well, definitely not the wings and definitely not the ribs, unless you're at a rib place. Okay, so
Yeah.
if you're going to a rib joint, and I love ribs, by the way,
Yeah.
you want to do what everyone else is doing. But if you are at a place where you get to choose, you're not going to choose ribs, corn on the
Yeah.
cob. But
Yeah. Yeah.
the two items that you want to steer clear from completely are salad, because it's going to stick to your teeth. It's
Oh
going
my gosh, and I feel like salads are the ones that, like, most people go to.
They're healthy and they're delicious, and if it's pre-served for you at an event, certainly you're not gonna skip the salad because I don't need it, it's not that look.
Yeah, yeah,
You know that when you're talking and you feel compelled to clean your teeth, we tend to do that, we do this thinking the other person doesn't notice. We're uncomfortable, they're uncomfortable watching you, so you
yeah, yeah.
steer when you are ordering, and you stay clear from, well, the cherry tomatoes, and then because that is also,
Oh, yeah.
and spaghetti. Do not order spaghetti
That
because
makes sense.
you're twirl, twirling, and bringing this basketball mound of pop, and then
Unless you're like me, and I apologize, I'm gonna offend probably some people right now. I actually cut mine up. Like, I am a
okay,
geriatric, okay?
well,
I'm
you're
just
never gonna do that again. Because you're going to go to call hell for cutting your
but I
spaghetti.
never eat it in public. That's a home hack, okay? That's a home it's a home place. I
So
would never eat that in restaurant.
that's actually an etiquette tip. You don't cut spaghetti. You will order a rigatoni or a bow tie or a penne, because when you cut
Breaking the
spaghetti,
rules over here, breaking the rules, like
yeah, that's right. And what happens is, if you're 5 years old or younger, your mom can cut it up for you.
yeah,
But
yeah,
it really does send a message. Plus, you're
yeah,
looking down. You're cutting, looking down, cutting, you're chasing around these little strands. So the reason for the protocol at a dining table is not to make other people feel uncomfortable. It's
yeah,
not to elevate you as stuffy or better than someone else. It's to just look fluid and seamless and smooth. And
yeah.
that's what protocol is all about. Etiquette is all about making others comfortable to be around you.
I love this. Okay, this is the perfect time to take a quick little break. We're going to hear from our incredible sponsor, Jeffrey B. with Jeffrey B. Jewelers. We'll be right back with Diane Gottsman with more etiquette hacks and beyond.
I'm Jeffrey Bowling, owner and jewelry designer at Jeffrey B. Jewelers, Denver's #1 jewelry design studio. And the reason why we're #1 is because of our 3D custom jewelry design. We can show you what your piece is going to look like way before the end product. And this is going to give you the comfort of knowing you get exactly what you want.
He took me over to the computer and we started drawing up exactly what I wanted. And I told my husband, I'm like, Jeffrey B is the person we're going to use.
And the other reason is that all of our gold and our diamonds are ethically sourced. So when you're ready to make that proposal, when you're ready for that legacy piece, go to jeffreyb.com and make an appointment. Because when it's love, it's Jeffrey B.
And we're back with Diane. I'm loving this because I'm learning so much. And we're just getting ready to dive into even more juicier, like, parts of this. And I remember because I actually ended up going. I was in college and in my undergrad college, and we had to. I was an ambassador with the university, and so we had to do all these events with the president and important meetings and represent the university. And so we had to go through a lengthy manners class, and we had it with Miss Manners, and that was her name that we called her. And we went through this etiquette training in a class, and it was an all-day event, and I had no idea, right? But we were able to learn these things. But I think the average person does not learn these things, right? Like you kind of pick them up as you go. I mean, I would have never had this class, right? Like I don't know that many people have a class, right? An etiquette class,
Well,
right?
first of all, we don't know what we don't know.
Right.
And,
Exactly.
and when we learn, and we learn from our grandmothers or we learn from our moms, and they are doing the very best they can because they have learned from someone before. So,
Right.
for example, our grandmothers may have taught us that when you have tea or coffee, mainly tea, you drink with your pinky up.
Yeah.
Well, that's actually bad manners. You keep your pinky down. Pinky up, you're going to spill the tea on yourself, and it's a little bit affected. But you wouldn't correct grandma. It doesn't mean that she's
Right.
wrong. She
Yeah.
just someone taught her. So, in regard to what you said about the ambassadors, so my business, I'm a corporate trainer. I don't
Yeah.
teach Italian skills. I don't teach dance lessons. So I go into universities and I work with their MBA programs, their law schools, their students, the students and faculty on job interviews, communication, networking. And the reason why, and I start there, and then I work with corporations, with their executives and their whoever is, whether it's small companies, large companies. And the value of this type of training as adults is that we've gotten along. We've
Yeah.
gotten along just
Yeah.
fine. And many people are highly successful, they think, because we don't know how we are perceived. And we always strive to do better, but do
Yeah.
better meaning making others comfortable to be around us. So I work with ambassadors at universities.
Yeah, wonderful.
They
Well,
are
thank you. Thank you.
they're
It was so
navigating
grateful.
this
Right?
world.
Yeah.
And I think it's important at any age. So if you're a five, if you have if someone's listening and they have a 5-year-old or a 7-year-old, they're learning 5-year-old skills and 7-year-old skills. We cannot expect young children to have this level. We train them here, and I say we, not me. I don't train kids, but you
The
expect
parent, the fam yeah.
5-year-old skills. You don't expect them to have this gamut. But the reality is that we all can do better, whether we're 30 or whether we're 90, so it's about making others comfortable to be around you.
Yeah, and it's also about that confidence, right? When you're at these meetings, you wanna show up confident like that. We wanna have that as the no-brainer, and so that you're really focused on that person and having that conversation so that you can be showing up in your best light, right? And
That's
so
right.
I just think of that I just had that thought around, the movie, Pretty Woman, when she went to that fancy dinner and she was just like a fish out of water, right? And she was trying to, like, manage it, but it was so uncomfortable for everybody else, right?
Right, including her. She was uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Everyone else around her was uncomfortable. And I say this all the time: money does not buy class. It doesn't matter where you come from, what your education is, what your bank account says. You can still you can it just doesn't matter. You can be gracious and grateful at any level, and it's about the skills. It's not about, money doesn't buy class, it buys a great pair of shoes. That's what I say.
That's
So,
right.
so there is a
Well,
I,
this is something that we can all learn, right? And as you said, like we can always improve, and and some reminders too, right? Like some reminders of, I was looking through some of your information and your book and everything, and there were some things that I was like, oh yeah, I remember, like, yeah, this is how we do these, So
right.
wonderful.
Another tip that I think is really important is when some of us were younger, we were taught that little boys stand up and little girls stay seated for introductions, because that was just polite. That's what you did.
Yeah.
When you met someone, the little boys stood, the little girls stayed seated. Well, that's antiquated. It just does not matter how you identify in today's world.
Mhm.
Everyone stands up because it shows respect for yourself and the other person. So again, these are corporate skills. These are adult skills. But if you're an adult listening and you have children, you teach your children as well when someone walks up to you to stand up, because
Mhm.
it's showing respect and reverence to them as well as making yourself feel empowered.
Yes, I love this. So moving from the dining into, the networking, I think this is a great segue into, those business meetings, anywhere from, I'm curious, from your perspective, like the handshake, because it's really interesting. When you meet folks with a strong handshake versus not a strong handshake, like what are your any information or tips on that?
Oh, absolutely. So when you shake hands, I'm going to show you with the camera. It should look like, I'm going to do it this way. The thumb should be straight up. The fingers should be straight out. It's straight up, straight out. So that is a shake right here, where you should make this little connection with this little flap of skin.
Yeah.
So it will alleviate the little limp handshake. It will
Yes.
alleviate the bone crunching handshake.
Yes.
But if you don't make it to that little flap of skin with the other person, that doesn't mean you dig in and try and maneuver in.
And that's so
So
funny.
it's interesting because men give a weaker shake more than women. And the reason why, the reason why is they're backing away, because they're trying to be respectful and not hurt you.
Yeah.
Women have traditionally given these bone crunchers because we were taught shake firm, give a firm shake. So if you just give a handshake that
Yeah.
looks like this, a neutral shake that's strong,
Yeah.
confident, empowering, without being overbearing, that is the key. So you always extend your hand first for a handshake. We just came through, recently a pandemic. And, during that time, the media was saying handshakes will go away forever. Well, they are not. They are
Yeah.
back in full force.
Exactly.
And if
Yeah.
you refuse a shake, it's a disconnect. Unless you are ill, unless you have a weak immune system, there are reasons why you could say, I am so happy to be here, but for now I'm going to pass on that shake. It's still a disconnect. So we have to think very clear,
Yeah.
very carefully. But what sometimes people have to say it. But you want to always make sure to extend your hand first, and
Mhm.
don't give this double fisted shake, because
Mhm.
that is reserved for families, friends, and funerals. So that is something that we think about as well. Everything we do sends a message.
Yeah.
Every
Yeah.
simple or gesture is sending a message. And if we take some of these little things and we fine tune them, for example, a smile. So the way that you can tell when someone is truly comfortable and genuine and authentically engaged is by their smile.
Mhm.
Well, we have been groomed. When we are not happy or uncomfortable, we try and portray this smile, but it comes across as pursed like this.
Yeah.
So when you open your mouth and you show your teeth, it's a genuine smile. It means I'm comfortable, which means we're going to have to go to the mirror and practice,
Yeah.
because for many people, it's a learned behavior. So knowing it, you go to your mirror and you learn your natural smile again. When we were babies, whether we were sighted babies or blind babies, we all smile the same way. We have a
Yeah.
big gummy smile, this full
Yes.
of life. And as we grow up, we become more contained and more confident and powerful. And this stature is fine because it's confident, but the smile is pursed. So we have to loosen up that smile, move our eyes. That's why when we were wearing masks, you could still tell if a person was happy or unhappy, because you
Yeah.
smile with your eyes. You smile with your eyes and you smile with your teeth. That that means that you don't just walk around with your teeth showing all the time, but when you do,
Right.
make it natural.
Yeah. Yeah. And it just brightens your face, like, right, it's more welcoming, it's more inviting, when you're and people can tell, right, like people can tell how you're
It's
showing up.
more authentic. It's
I
it's
always tell people from an energetic perspective, like if you're not in a great space, if you're in, not a great mindset, don't go to that networking event if that's how you're going to show up, because people will feel that. People will see that.
we feel the energy of the other person. We feel their and what is happening is we're watching their body language, we're looking at their facial expressions. We're very, very bright individuals, all of us. And so we have this computer brain that is just without even noticing it. We're calculating what we see. And it's not because we're judgmental, it's because we're visual. And if you don't have your sight, you're listening, you're feeling that handshake, you're listening to the tone of voice. So we're sending messages all the time.
Yeah. And now going back to the staying with the business and the networking and all of this, I also see one of the big things is around name tags and where to place them, right?
Yes. You place them on the right hand side to follow the line of sight of that handshake. So your eyes are following the handshake up to the shoulder, because interestingly, just those few seconds of crossing over to the other part of the body, the other shoulder, is a disconnect. It's a 1 second, 2 seconds.
And it's like these unconscious disconnects that start to have a big impact.
Yeah, that's right. I say everything we do speaks. It speaks volumes. It's the way that we make an introduction. It's how we say our name. So when we say our name at this networking event that you're talking about, and networking, so many people dislike networking events because it feels schmoozy and it feels fake. But if you retrain your brain and say, number one, look, I have to go. I'm an employee, or I'm going with someone, or I need to go to that wedding. Everything is networking. Go to the grocery store and smiling at someone. It's called building relationships.
Yes.
So if you're going, you want to show up, and you have to make yourself interesting. It doesn't matter if you're an introvert, if you are feeling if you show up, it's your job to be interesting. So you're finding a few little facts that you want to talk about in advance. You watch television, go on social media, read the news online, find some positive things to comment on. And it's not about closing deals. It's about building relationships when you're at these networking events, but saying your name. So I'm not just Diane. I'm Diane Gottsman. Hello, Diane Gottsman. Hello, my name is Diane Gottsman. Hi, my name's Diane. Feel the difference?
Yeah.
Hi, Diane. Hello, Diane Gottsman. So first and last name. They're not going to remember it probably, but it sounds more confident and more respectful to the other person.
Yeah, this is wonderful. Okay, I know that we have to wrap up here, but any final tips that you would like to share with the audience, or things that are just kind of an overall final message for everyone here that's listening in?
Well, I think that it's not about perfection. None of us are perfect. We're all human, and we give each other grace. But I think it's important to all of us to do our homework, to be the best, strive to be the best individual that we can be, because we are giving that other person respect and showing confidence in our own ability. So I think that it's important just to continue to learn. We learn until our life is over, whether we are 5 or whether we're 95. It really is the best thing for us and for the people that surround us.
Yes. Well, this has been absolutely delightful. I know that we just got a little tip of the iceberg in all of your brilliance that you are here sharing. So grab her book, but go check Diane out at Instagram. I'm going to drop that link up here. So make sure that you check her out. Diane, this has been absolutely delightful. Thank you so much. And I look forward to staying in touch with you.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Make sure you hit that notification bell to find out about my upcoming shows. Thank you for tuning in today, and I'll see you next time.